it's. I think I know who these people are. They're the women who have already like they're out of the young, wild, and free phase of their life, looking to settle, and everyone's like, "Nah, you're a slut. I'm good. I'll get that girl over there." That does happen more than you think. That's why I feel bad about the whole.
So this
You
is
can do
interesting.
whatever you want.
So it's not your. So I got sent this link. It's not your imagination. Single women. There literally aren't enough men out there. Really? Okay. So let's go through this argument. Is anybody interested in me going through this or not at all?
Absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. We all have that friend, the beautiful, intelligent, driven woman who, like Katherine Hegel in every rom-com, can't find a decent date. Every guy she goes out with is an asshole. But he's an asshole. But he's a guy. Yeah, I mean, he's got a dick. There aren't enough men. Assholes are still men.
Yeah.
Consistently dates below her league. Okay, well, see, again, now we're talking not about men, but about men in certain classes.
You have to date people below your status when.
No. Yeah, exactly. So she doesn't want to date anybody below her status, okay? And she's on the verge of giving up on a committed relationship altogether. So if she can't date at or above her status, then she just needs to want to have a relationship at all. Okay, that's interesting, okay? Now, not long after he turned 30, the writer John Berenger realized he and his wife knew a lot of women like that. The couple didn't have a lot of single male friends left, but the many single women they knew all seemed to be buyers stuck in a seller's market. One of those friends, Berenger told me, had been dating a guy for a couple years. It certainly seemed like they were well on their way to getting married. She was in her late 30s. He was in his mid-40s. She really wanted to have kids, get married, the whole thing, and she's amazing in every way. On the day to lunch, Berenger casually asked her about her boyfriend. Her whole expression changed. Berenger recalled they had just broken up. They'd been dating for over 2 years, and he said he just wasn't really ready to settle down.
Yeah, he was ready to settle down. He's in his 40s. He's ready to settle down with a quality woman, with the right woman, a woman that he could bequeath to. She wasn't it.
Right. Well, that's one of the things. So that's there's this assumption. They went through this whole thing where they said this person is great. I mean, that's a given, but that hasn't been substantiated. She could be a fucking shrew. Right? She could have all kinds of fucking problems.
And the funny thing is she could be okay, but she could just not be one-itis one. And here's the thing is, women in the modern age are in competition with every other potential theoretical female on the planet.
Well, no, but I mean,
movies.
men likewise are in the same situation. That's not unique to women. I mean, that's just sex. Right?
Also, this Facebook group.
I mean, men are in competition with other men. Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
And women, get used to it, dears. Of course, you're gonna be in competition with each other.
Of course, yeah. Men can monkey branch too.
Of course. Yeah.
It seems like nobody ever thought this was going to happen.
Well, right, but I mean, we never stopped doing this. It's not a new thing. Recently started doing. Both men and women have been fucking around on each other since always.
This is what makes it so funny.
Like they don't understand that's the default human behavior since always. So anyway, this got Berenger, a former economics writer for Fortune and Money, thinking, how could a man of that age be so cavalier about casting aside such an amazing woman? Well, you don't know the woman's amazing. Okay?
We're taking it as read that she's quote-unquote amazing.
Right, and we don't know this guy. This guy could be fucking amazing. Right? Maybe she was dating above her pool here, right?
And possible. Maybe what a guy considers amazing, like in a woman, like zombie preparedness. Where does she fit on that scale, huh?
Well, that's more of an individual thing. I don't think guys generally are thinking about that. But yeah, the thing is, yeah, the standards that women are using to say what they want men to see as valuable, it's not what men see as valuable. It's what feminism thinks women should be. And that's about as reasonable as men projecting what they want women to be on women, and then judging them on that basis, and then saying, well, you know, why aren't you better at making sandwiches? You know, and you know, if that's not a reasonable question for a guy to ask, and it's not reasonable for her to impose her own little thing on the situation either.
Aloe, mute yourself if you're gonna.
Sorry.
Background noise.
No, mute yourself
actually gonna
forever.
say something.
No.
I was actually gonna say something.
Okay, then say it.
Yeah.
Say it, and then mute yourself.
Yeah, I was going to. Anyway, somebody on Huffington says, how is it nuts for me to have standards? And then this person says, it's not. Just don't expect people to not call you out on how utterly ridiculous your standards are when you judge someone's worth based on how many people they do with your legs, especially when you don't hold yourself to the standards. I haven't slept with anyone either. He's like, oh, well, I wouldn't want to sleep with you. So...
every one of these comment reactions to No Hymen, No Diamond ends with sour grapes. That's what's getting so funny.
Okay, so using his background in economics and statistics, Berenger sought out an answer. The result in his new book, Datanomics: How Dating Became a Lopsided Numbers Game. A clever read with a sobering conclusion. Simply aren't enough college-educated men to go around for every four-year college-educated woman in my generation. And
that's feminist fault.
Well, that's one point. Here's my point. The college education has been increasingly, over the last 30 years, worth less and less in terms of actual life experience, in terms of actual knowledge. The whole fucking point is the reason why these women aren't looking for intelligent men. They're looking for men that can afford a 4-year college degree. This is all about...
But anybody can. Anybody can afford a 4-year college degree. I mean, literally anybody. Literally anybody. It doesn't. You can be homeless and afford of course, the government's going to give you a loan.
Maybe it's that they're looking for someone who will take the financial risks and stuff like that. Like
there's no financial risk. What are they going to do to you?
Whereas most American, an increasingly large number of young men are either forced out of the. This is going in multiple directions. You got young guys that are being forced out of the school system to begin with just because they're getting so beaten down by it and zero-tolerance policies and mandatory sentencing. But then also you got a lot of young guys that will see opportunities like in the oil fields or what have you where a young man can make up quick money, build up a lot of quick money fast through hard labor.
A lot of it is that our gonads speak to us. I can only speak for myself in that. When a discussion starts, when something starts, and my balls are literally there, and they're going, no, this is bullshit, right? It's very difficult for me to take any discussion seriously that my balls think are bullshit. Does that making any sense at all? You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about, say, something where people say remove competition from an environment. Right? They're like, no, we can all be winners. We can all be winners. Everybody gets a participation prize. Right? Okay? So that's an example of something that my balls would just shake their heads at it and go, no, there's winners and losers. Aloe, mute yourself.
I am muted.
What? That might have been me?
Yeah.
That was Guinness?
Yes. Freaking
well,
jerk.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Aloe. It wasn't you for the first time ever.
Anyway, that article?
It was done.
Oh, we finished it?
That's the whole thing. It ends with this thing where they say there aren't enough men.
This thing goes on and on and on because and it's hilarious. The whole article reveals more and more, like
Okay, you're right. I was looking at something. The recommended thing I thought was the end of the article. All right, so you're right. So Vice, how did you determine there was a nationwide man deficit amongst the college educated? I think when I began the research, I actually thought the conclusion was a little different. I assumed there was a New York problem or a big city thing. Like in New York, I thought I had something to do with the labor market there, fashion and PR. And media attract a lot of women, and Wall Street isn't nearly the all-male bash that it used to be. So I figured there was some shifts in the labor market, blah, 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 something unique about LA, Washington, New York. But it's worse, they say, in Montana, West Virginia, and Mississippi, blah, blah. Well, yeah, sure, but who gives a shit? I mean, you don't need a college education to run a farm, necessarily.
Yeah,
and you can be quite successful doing that.
And that's the funny thing is these women want – the hypergamy is in the extreme for them. They want to literally have everything. They want a Bitcoin engagement ring. But really, if a woman has – wait, I want a guy who's going to be able to afford the house. There's no educational requirements in a lot of that when you're talking about the Midwest.
Mm.
I mean, you just brought up Montana and farms and stuff, and it's like pretty damned easy to afford a nice house.
So, all right, so the question is, so where are all the men? And the response is, I mean, they exist. They're just not going to college. This is in China or India where they have a man-made gender imbalance because of all sorts of horrendous things. Men out there, they're just not going to college. Last year, about 35% more women than men graduated from college. Okay, well then that means that's your dude. I mean, genetically, the Department of Education projects that by the class of 2023, there will be 47% more women than men graduating from college. That's 3 women for every 2 men, essentially. Obviously, none of this would matter if it were all a little more open-minded about who we're willing to date and marry, but there have been multiple studies on this, and it turns out Americans have been less likely over the last 50 years to marry and date across educational lines. So educational intermarriage, well, yeah, of course they have. But what he's not understanding was that the reason that in the past they were more willing to marry across lines was because the men that had the educations and the women that didn't. Men are very happy to marry women that have less education. That's not an issue. The issue is women are not willing to marry men that have less education. So, you know, and it's so funny. They're basically citing their problem and they're trying to make it someone else's problem. But, you know, their problem is they don't want to do one thing or another. They got everything they wanted, and now they're unhappy with the results, and now they want to make the people that they took everything away from, or that they took whatever it was away from, they want to make it their problem again. No, bitch. You got the power. Now you solve the problem. You tell me what you want to do. So educational intermarriage, I don't know. If that's a real term, maybe I just made it up. But it's at its lowest rate in 50 years. Yeah, but again, he's just failing to admit that the reason that it's at a low ebb is because the gender's flipped with the educational trends. But anyway.
And the funny thing is they keep on talking about like the educational gap, like I was mentioned this Pew Research thing, and I'll look that up later, but because I'm about to head off to work, but they're speaking from the assumption that just because a woman has been through this, college, that she's somehow going to be smarter than every guy off the street. Except, right. But we're seeing increasingly, like, we see this STEM field.
Well, it's genetically impossible, though. But it's genetically impossible, right? Like the men and the women, right, in the general population are coming from the same families, right? Because the men and women, they're the sons and daughters of the previous generation, generally speaking, yeah?
Yeah.
They're going to be genetically similar for their intelligence, right? So suggesting that the men are less intelligent is just an error. It's not possible.
And, well, I was going to go more towards the liberal arts Starbucks degree that most women are pursuing nowadays, or most college students in general.
Right. So how have you bettered yourself because you took a gender studies course? You think you're educated? Really?
Basically.
Yeah, I mean,
demonstrate to reject them.
Besides pointing at a diploma, how can you actually demonstrate that you were educated at all?
And
I mean, yeah, you sat your ass in a chair for 4 years and you passed some make-work tests. Congrats.
And from what I've seen from a lot of 22-year-olds, there's not much that they can describe themselves as being.
Well, I mean, I've been talking to some people in Europe, and I query them about certain things about their history, their own history. I mean, I'm not even talking about my history or world history, like their own history of their own countries, right? They don't know. They don't know. So I mean, I'm not saying that's uniquely an issue there, but I'm saying that just because people are sitting their asses in a chair getting some education somewhere doesn't actually mean they learned anything.
You know what? There's a very deliberate and purposeful turning away from learning history in the modern age, and I'm thinking that's because it might risk people developing feelings of patriotism, and quite frankly, the modern left cannot countenance that.
Well, also it two things happened in the past. One thing is you have a record of things that didn't work.
Yeah.
You also have a record of things that did work, and also it's harder to control the narrative if people know what happened. If sort of the spinning of the way things are all comes in the coaching of the ideology, then they can make everything plastic to their ideology.
Nothing existed before the party.
Right. Well, no, I mean, and I quote this joke a lot. It's an old joke from the Soviet Union, which is that the future is always the same. It's the past that keeps changing. Right? Because the future is always the shining city on the hill when the communist. I mean, in the context of the Soviet Union, where the communists win and everything's beautiful and wonderful, right? But what keeps changing is the history of all the things that didn't work, all the people that were heroes until they became class enemies.
Unpersons. Yep.
Yeah, unpersons, just erased from history, all that kind of stuff.
Down the memory hole.
Right. All the fucking problems that they actually created themselves get erased. So yeah. So anyway, is there an issue for American women where the more educated you are, the smaller your dating pool becomes? It feels that the smarter you are as a woman, the smaller your dating pool is, because women seem less likely to date men less intelligent than themselves. Which this is an interesting thing. They're conflating education with intelligence, which, as I was saying, from the genetic standpoint, is not possible.
And also from a self-interest standpoint, is meaningless, especially in terms of marriage, and possibly counterproductive.
Good genetics is relevant. Good genetics. I'm sorry. I'm not marrying a stupid bitch. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste time and energy on that. Okay. She might be less educated, but I'm not going to. No, if she's dumb, I'm not going to put a ring on her finger.
Here's the thing. Stupid isn't the important part. Bitch is. And so they're not screening. Screening guys. So they're screening guys for money and intelligence, and they're not even thinking to guys with moral integrity or.
But women have always filtered men for status. Always.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a new thing. That's always. Right, and so education is associated with status, and so their issue is not intelligence actually here. Because they know damn well that there are a lot of intelligent men out there without college educations. That's not an issue. The issue is that these are lower status men because the education confers a certain status in society.
It's interesting. So I just read something that gave me an amazing idea. I actually agree with a radical feminist for this.
Of course you do.
We should ban abstinence. I agree with that totally. Let every man get sex legally. Women can't deny it. Just ban it. Make it illegal.
How does that even work?
Don't know, but it sounds hilarious. So
I mean, that sounds like a literal rape culture.
And abstinence will become illegal.
No, but if abstinence is illegal, then you've just basically mandated rape culture, like literal.
That's the funny part.
Obligatory sex.
See, this is my issue with the intellectually engaging with these people. It's like arm wrestling toddlers. They're so fucking stupid that I don't even feel a sense of accomplishment when I point out how fucking dumb they are.
Well, I'm gonna head out for the day, guys. Catch you later. And
yo, Ben, before you go, I want you to know something, man.
Yeah.
That guy who posted that Hyman No Diamond thing is apparently the leader of the MRA movement.
Of course, everybody is the leader of the MRA movement.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. They're saying he is the leader of the MRA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never
it's,
seen Renegade, by the way.
Was it Paul Elam?
No, well, there was one guy, Dean Asbay has gotten his toes wet to joke around in there, but there's also some other guy who I've never heard of before and isn't, because this guy is, because I'm looking at his Twitter profile and he works at Goldman Sachs and is from Israel, and that might just be more trolling, but. So it's not, but Dean Asbay is the one that was pointing to it looking to be have been started by Orthodox Jews or somebody in the Orthodox Jewish community doing this, and it does sound like, and this is very much a kind of the kind of hashtag that a really religious person would come up with, not specifically a political type, and most MRAs kind of just pull from everywhere, including atheists and whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah, Ben, though, if you gotta head out, man, we don't want to take up your time.
Okay, later.
Take it easy, man.
I'm gonna make that a hashtag on Twitter. Hashtags ban abstinence.
So the person asks the researcher, okay, so I have these problems. What can we do to improve my odds aside from dating a working class guy who is clearly unacceptable? Then the guy asks, how old are you? And she says, I'm 23. And he says, well, what you should do is consider going to the West Coast because it's a little better than on the East. And then you should consider going someplace like San Francisco, around Silicon Valley, around in there, because there are just a lot of well-educated guys in there. Who are, of course, all STEM graduates. But of course, the feminists are attacking that. They're like, there's too much dick in here.
Well, you can't please them. No matter what you do, it's gonna piss them off.
I know. Well, no, but you see, but that's the problem. Is like, why are you trying to please them?
Because men want to be liked by women.
No.
People who try to please them.
You want them to jump up and down on your penis. You don't want them to. Who cares?
I want to be liked.
No, you want to be admired. No, you want to be admired and respected. Is what you want. And you know something that women like is a little bit of authority and self-confidence. So you just tell them how it is, and they're going to get mad, and you're going to go, okay. And so that bitch is going to get mad, but there are going to be a couple other ones that are going to be like, I just got a little wet when you did that, and that's fantastic. There you go. It's your market.
Guys
Congrats.
don't realize that.
Well,
some do, of course.
My gonads educated me. I can't speak for anybody else. I don't know why you guys didn't get this education. It literally came with puberty.
Yeah, but there's also the tendency towards helping and wanting to protect women. That's
I protect what's mine.
Yeah, well, you also have the tendency to protecting women to absurd lengths as a human.
Yeah, what about white knighting?
That is basically like homosexuality. It's.
Yeah, but it's a biological thing.
No, because it's not productive. It doesn't work.
No, it works. What do you mean?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Are they sleeping with the white knights? Are they sleeping with the white knights? Is that fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Is the fuck a beta thing working?
Yeah, it works pretty well. I know some people are getting a lot from it.
Yeah, but it's not just the beta people who are white knights.
Generally, it is.
I don't know, dude. I see a lot of alphas at white knighting when you like look at that shit on the train. Like half the fucking train fucking erupts into panic and starts fighting for this girl, and it's like
fine, but the fact that if the alpha actually gets the girl at the end, then that is effective.
The alpha only holds the girl temporarily, man.
And fine, whatever. She holds still for a second, fine, whatever. But it doesn't. That's fine, and if that were what was going on, I don't think men would be especially concerned with the whole white knighting situation. If they were actually getting some pussy out of it, right? But if there's nothing,
you're saying it doesn't. Sorry, I interrupted.
It doesn't. Generally speaking, it doesn't.
Yeah, but it does work. Fact that the
on the internet, how many white knights are getting pussy from another feminist on the internet?
That's different. They can't come in time. Internet white knights aren't in physical contact with the girl.
Okay, so any white knight on the internet automatically is a beta.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, okay, now if we're exclusively talking about white knighting in person, all right, when does it bother you? Like, show me something that happens in person, white knighting, that's a problem. Because almost all the shit we're talking about is on social media. Huh?
I just get annoyed by it. I mean, it's not a problem. It's just an annoyance.
Well, whatever. It's basic human behavior. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, in person, it's usually not much different from online.
No, it isn't. It's hugely different.
Well, it can be, but not necessarily, you know?
Give me an example. Give me an example. Give me an example. I've had it.
Like any.
What do you want an example of it?
I want a physical, real-world example of white knighting that you have a problem with.
Who, me? I can probably give an example.
Physical example, white knighting, problem.
Yeah, when I'm in an argument with a girl and she's wrong and I'm trying to explain what's right, somebody will come out of nowhere and defend her position, like no matter how stupid it is. Like I was arguing with a chick about they wanted to put scales in the McDonald's, and she said that's sexist. And I was like, there is no way that scales are sexist. They judge weight. They don't care what you are. And she's like, no, it's only unfair to women because only women are going to get like objectified by their weight by it. And I'm like, that's bullshit. And then this guy comes out of nowhere and is like, no, she's right. Scales are sexist. Machines can be sexist. And I'm like, the fuck? And then he just keeps going on and on until eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
No, I agree. No, right, exactly. But I don't understand why you have a problem with that.
Because it's annoying. You're basically lying to her.
Why were you having that conversation with her?
Because I don't want people when I see people say stupid things, I try to educate them so they don't go around saying stupid things and spreading misinformation.
You can't fix stupid. It's incurable.
You can fix stupid ideas.
No, I mean, you can fix ignorance. You can't fix stupid.
That's kind of true. But there's, I don't know, like examples. Wasn't that posted here? There was a guy. No, there's a girl who like slapped the guy on a bus, right? So then he slaps her back. Then some other guy jumps in, starts beating him up.
Yeah.
And the first guy won.
So that's a problem.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem.
Why?
This guy got
just attacked somebody for something that didn't involve you. I mean, I don't think I should hit the girl, but still.
But he might have gotten the girl because he defended her.
Okay, are you saying it's a problem for white knights or a problem for people who are not white knights? I'm confused. Because if you're saying it on their side, then yeah, it's good for the white knight.
No, you keep talking about white knights like they're like a special species or something.
I consider them their own little social class when they do it as a living.
If they do it as a living, we're not talking. Guy in a bus is not doing this as a living. Look, it's an effective way to form a relationship with somebody, and women like it when somebody comes to their defense, particularly physically. Okay, like that literally turns them on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you're telling me you got a problem with a guy getting in a fight with another guy, and as the payoff, he gets the girl. That's a problem for you.
Whether or not he gets the girl is irrelevant.
No, it is. No, it's everything.
I mean, on a biological.
Well, we're talking about human behavior. So if you're not going to allow me to use biology, then we're not having the same conversation.
I don't think he's trying to say it's a problem for the He's talking about it's a problem for him. It can cause problems with whatever you're doing.
Why are you getting in the middle of that?
What if I'm the first one involved with the girl and the other person jumps in out of nowhere?
Right.
That guy is not involved.
He has challenged you, but you beat